Good evening, I'm Danilo Evangelista, and welcome to our tropical weather outlook for Saturday, September 6th, 2025. Sometimes tripping on my words a little bit, sometimes I get ahead of myself, but that's okay. But let's start off this evening's tropical weather outlook with a look at the National Hurricane Center, and the only thing we are watching right now in the tropical Atlantic is Invest 91L, which is now all the way down to a 20% chance of development in the next 7 days. I have not seen an Invest quite like 91L, which had so much hype in the models, and yet so little came of it, and we are probably not going to get anything major to come out of 91L here over the next several days, and that's very much of a surprising development, as I mentioned yesterday, especially compared to when just 2 days ago, or roughly around 2 days ago, earlier this week, a lot of people were beginning to sound the alarm on potentially a hurricane heading towards the Caribbean, but that is no longer going to happen. In fact, this area here is probably just going to move off to the west and eventually kind of vanish, and maybe it'll respark itself somewhere further west. And again, I've said that before, that sometimes you really can't just take your eye off these tropical waves completely, and that they do have a tendency to spark further west sometimes, especially in the peak of hurricane season like we are in right now in September. Although it really does not feel like it, it is quite surprising that we have a Invest modeled to be a pretty decent hurricane in the month of September completely fail like 91L is right now. I've not seen anything like it, but here we are. And 91L, the chances are probably going to drop even further with this, and probably by tomorrow this area will fully be off the tropical weather bulletin here, although unless it tries to make some sort of revitalization that it undergoes, or something resparks with this. Until then, again, not really expecting anything to happen. Let's move on to the Eastern Pacific, though, because things are still active there. We have a new area of interest, a 20% chance right now of something else developing here in the Pacific. And then we have Hurricane Kiko, which is still a major hurricane right now. And as I'll show you on the satellite loop in a little bit, it's probably going to remain a major hurricane for at least another day or so. And it's probably undergoing an intensification phase right as we speak. But let's really quickly go over how 91L is looking like right now, just to prove you that this is pretty much deadbeat, not going to do anything at this point. Here's the latest satellite loop, and you can see, again, just very barren, very dry conditions generally, and just not a lot of convection sparking with 91L. And if you were to compare, especially to about 2 or 3 days ago with the models, I'm pretty sure almost all of the models by now earlier this week had 91L already intensifying and probably a named storm about to become a hurricane. Yet here we are on Saturday, and we do not even have an organized tropical wave, not even compared to a few days ago. And again, this is just because of things downtrending with 91L. And you can see here with the track forecast, pretty much all the models, I mean, just, go bye-bye with this. They just go plop. It's just complete fail. All the models just have this completely fading into oblivion. Some of them having this crash into Venezuela and South America. And that's definitely not a sign of a system that has any chance of doing anything significant anymore over the next several days. And intensity-wise, you can see where all the models are. Although it's really interesting, for some reason, the ships is still pretty aggressive, and some of these other, I think these are statistical models on, I think, the LGEM and IVCN. I think some of those are statistical models, and it's actually so interesting that some of the models here show something with 91L, but you can see where the vast majority of the models, especially the ones that we would pay attention to, like the AVNI, that's the GFS, HWRF in both of the HAFS models and even the HMON here. All of these models not doing anything at all with this. So again, not expecting much out of 91L any longer. The best thing to focus on in the tropics right now is Hurricane Kiko, and this is the latest satellite image of that, really becoming a very round and well-structured hurricane here in the last few frames. Earlier today, we kind of saw the northern chunk of Kiko beginning to choke off a little bit, and some speculation that it's already beginning to move into cooler sea surface temperatures, and that's why it's happening. But look at the latest frame. Classic looking hurricane, classic stadium effect here, and a very well-rounded CDO. And this is probably intensifying. National Hurricane Center only has this at Category 3 intensity. I would not be shocked if this is probably in reality already re-strengthened to a Category 4, and maybe even beyond that. And this will probably remain a major hurricane. I mean, the National Hurricane Center forecasts that this will weaken to only a hurricane below major hurricane intensity tomorrow, but I don't know. Looking at the satellite imagery, I think this might actually try to hold on for a little bit longer. And in fact, again, I think this might even be strengthening right now as we speak. So this will probably remain a major hurricane at least into tomorrow and probably through tomorrow. Maybe as we head into early next week, this will start to weaken as this heads further northwest. Definitely will then begin to head into cooler sea surface temperatures by then. And then as you can see, as we head through next week, it begins to weaken significantly. And this does go north of the Hawaiian Islands. If you remember, yesterday and a few days ago, the cone was starting to make its way into some of the Hawaiian Islands here. Well, that's no longer happening, so I guess no need to worry in terms of direct impacts from Hawaii, although still you'll probably have to deal with maybe some passing showers and some swells and rip currents as Kiko passes to the north. So wouldn't be too concerned right now about direct impacts from Kiko to Hawaii. And again, this will probably remain a major hurricane over the next several days. So that's what's going on in the Eastern Pacific. And to close off, I just want to show you what to expect over the next several days here in the Atlantic, as we really don't have much to talk about right now with 91L. But we are still in the peak of the hurricane season. And as you can see here on the European ensembles over the next 10 days, I actually will say that the 12Z European ensembles do show that 91L does try to rekindle a little bit. So we'll see if that ends up actually happening. But you do see, especially beyond 91L, further east here, they already have some more signals coming off of Africa, probably with some strong tropical waves, and we'll see if they develop. I mean, it's peak of the hurricane season. We should be getting development out here in the MDR, and it's a little bit surprising that we aren't. And then also you see here, very interestingly, only one ensemble, but there is, interestingly enough, a pretty strong ensemble here in the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll see if that actually sparks into something that we need to watch. And there's also stuff off the East Coast too. So a few areas to watch over the next week or so, as again, we are getting into the month of September and things will probably get active at some point. Really starting to question when, but again, we are in September. We're in the peak of the hurricane season, and as I've said before, at this time of the year, things can change in a matter of days. It's like a switch flip that happens in the Atlantic, where one day things are very dead and almost look like nothing is going to happen, and then we go from that to just a few days later, suddenly we have an explosion of activity with now 3 or 4 things to track. So not really counting things out and not counting the season as a whole yet, but I will say it is a little interesting that we are as quiet as we are right now, and especially with 91L busting or flopping in the way that it is, it really does raise some eyebrows into what the future of this hurricane season will be like. But we'll monitor that over the next several days. But with that being said, I don't think there's really much to go else right now or go over in the tropics. So I guess they're going to end it off here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of tonight, your Saturday. We'll be back with a video tomorrow, though, for Sunday. Again, I'm doing these videos every single day till the end of hurricane season, so expect another update from me tomorrow, but it'll probably be a short one. Just like today, although I guess today was not super short. Tomorrow will probably be even shorter if nothing happens with 91L. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe. Peace, love, and kindness to you all. I'll be back with more tomorrow.